Hello, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Fumi Chris. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on this amazing series that we are on. And if you've subscribed already, you're welcome. So we're going to continue on the conversation about our book, The Dream Giver. So I need you to go back to my previous video and watch it or rewatch it. You will understand better. But today we go into the second chapter. So we're on chapter 2. Ordinary leaves his comfort zone. Remember in chapter 1, he packed his bag. He was so happy because he had gone to resign at his job. He had told best friend goodbye. Even though best friend couldn't understand what he was doing, but he had made up his mind. He told everybody bye-bye and he left. So Ordinary packed his box. He made sure he had enough food, there's water, then he put his journal. And remember the white long feather and the ink. He made sure he put all that in there. And he was taking a step away from the land of familiar, and he was heading towards the border of the land. He knew that the more he walks out of the land of familiar, the unfamiliar things we get for him. He had already thought about that. He knew those are part of the sacrifices he needs to pay. He knew that most nobodies who tried to leave this comfort zone of familiar became so uncomfortable, and most of them turned back home. He had seen so many of them that would pack their loads as a dreamer and they start leaving the land of familiar. Things become unfamiliar for them, and majority of them run back to the land of familiar because they can't even handle it. They can't handle not knowing the next thing that will happen for them. So Ordinary told himself that he's different from those people, and he told himself if there's one thing he's going to do is to pursue his dream. So he kept on going. He was so happy and he started whistling. You know, when you start thinking about his dream and how the fulfillment of it will make him look and will make him feel, he was so happy. But all of a sudden, he started slowing down. He didn't even know the reason why he was slowing down. And then so many questions were coming to his heart. How will he actually fulfill this dream? Questions that he didn't have answers to coming to his mind. And he started asking himself some questions. And he saw how inadequate he is in pursuing this vision. He was no longer in the mood to sing, and everything became strange to him. His dream became his fear. Then he started thinking, maybe the dream giver had meant to give the dream to some other nobody that are more noble than him. How can the dream giver choose someone like him to go in pursuit of this kind of a dream? This dream is too big for him. Because he could see, he knows himself. He knows where he's coming from, what he could do, the skills he have and all that. Compared to this big dream, he saw that indeed the dream giver made a mistake. As he was going through this, he was still walking gradually, but his steps were not as swift as before. Then he looked ahead and he saw a signpost, and on it was written, leaving the comfort zone of familiar, entering borderland. His heart started pounding, like this is it. Here, Ordinary paused and he couldn't move again. He could hardly breathe, like he was frozen. Just then, he hit an imaginary wall of fear. It was as if there was a wall in front of him that he could not move past. An imaginary wall of fear. He stopped and unable to take one more step. He dropped the suitcase and sat on it. And he asked himself, should he turn back? He wondered, should he turn back to the land of familiar, where he is so conversant with, a land he knows so well, a land where should he try to find a way to go on? He was having that in his mind. He was at the point of decision. Should he go ahead with his dream or turn back home to meet his people? And as he was pondering on that, time passed. Then he heard the word, why are you stopping? Ordinary recognized the voice of the dream giver. He knew the dream giver. I think I want to go back home, he said weakly. I'm not the right nobody to go after such a big dream. The dream giver said, yes, you are. I made you to do this, he said. Ordinary said, but I don't think I can do this. The dream giver replied him, yes, you can. I will be with you. I will help you. After that conversation, Ordinary stood up and he looked towards the land of the unknown. Somewhere out there was his big dream, he told himself. That in that place that I don't even know what is going on there, somewhere out there is my big dream. But getting here to there seemed too difficult, seemed too hard, because his legs were so heavy. And then he looked back, longingly towards the land of familiar where he was coming from. He fondly remembered all its comforts, his usual job, his best friend, his recliner, his boss. There was something wonderful about nothing happening, he told himself. Ordinary picked up his suitcase and decided to take one step in that direction. He just wanted to see how it feels. He started taking one step towards the land of familiar. And guess what? It felt so right. It felt better. Right away, his breath came easier. He was happy again. So he took another step just to see what that step would feel like. It felt even better. Oh, Ordinary started walking towards the land of familiar. With every step back to the middle of familiar, Ordinary grew more comfortable. But he quickly noticed he was also growing sad again. And he knew why. With each step he took towards the land of familiar, he was leaving his big dream farther behind. Then he heard the dream giver again. "Why are you going back?" Ordinary stopped. He said, "Because I'm afraid. Leaving familiar feels too scary and risky," he said. Dream giver said, "Yes, it does." Then Ordinary replied, "If I'm supposed to do this big dream, sure, I won't feel so afraid. If you're the one sending me, I know there won't be fear in my heart." Then the dream giver replied, "Yes, you would. You will feel the fear. Every nobody does." Then Ordinary hung his head. He thought for a moment. Then he said, "But you could take away the fear. Please take away the fear." He begged the dream giver. "If you don't, I can't go on." The fear was just too much for him. "Yes, you can," the dream giver said. "Take courage, Ordinary." Then he was gone. No voice of the dream giver. Ordinary saw his choice now. He could either keep his comfort or his dream. He had to choose one. But how do you take courage when you don't have any? He thought to himself. Ordinary decided if his fear wasn't going to leave, he would have to go forward in spite of it. Still trembling, he picked up his suitcase, turned his back on familiar, and walked to the sign, the border sign. Even though his fear kept growing, Ordinary shut his eyes and took a big step forward, right through the invisible wall of fear. And there, he made a surprising discovery. On the other side of that single step, just the exact one Ordinary don't think he could take, he found that he had broken through his comfort zone. Now the wall of fear was behind him. He was free and his dream was ahead of him. He began to whistle again because his joy was restored. And he walked on, his big dream beating brightly in his chest. Later that day, Ordinary took out his journal and his long white feather and wrote the truth about his comfort zone down. Then he wrote, "It was hard to leave my comfort zone, but it would have been even harder to leave behind my dream, and I'm glad I didn't. I still don't feel worthy or able to do my dream, but the dream giver had promised to help me. Now I have a secret. I can take courage even when I feel afraid." What a discovery. My big dream was on the other side of that invisible wall of fear. I had to step through it. I don't think I could, but I did. So we'll continue from there in our next video, but I need you to do this. I would like to know, what junction are you? Are you still in your land of familiar? Are you still in the process of telling best friend and convincing your parents? Or are you on your way out of the land of familiar to the land of the unknown? Or are you stuck at the border town of the familiar? I'd like to hear it. I would like us to talk. I would like you to put it at the comment section. Let us relate. So thank you very much. That is it for today. Then we meet in the next. But guess what? I see you in the boardroom. Thank you very much.